Hello, it's mid-September here at Wall Street Homestead. Welcome back again to our new people. We're glad you're here. For the ones that are returning, we're glad you're back. Going to do a little short fall garden video as we come to the end of the summer stuff. We still got some summer things still producing, and just recently put in the fall garden items to see how they do. If you like what you see, watch to the end. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. We have new content coming out regularly. If you've been here before, hit the like button, leave a comment, suggestion, anything you'd like. So with that, we'll get started. Okay, here we are in the garden. Typically the same layout that was in my earlier garden video, just as changes for the fall. Starting up here with my culture trash cans. I had squash and zucchini in them. I've taken them out. The squash beetles really did a number on them. Trying some fall cucumbers. I went and got 4 different varieties of cucumbers from Baker Creek, all heirlooms, supposed to be short maturity dates. We'll see if we get how this works. Just doing some experimenting and playing around this year. First year I've really put in a fall garden. A couple of weeks later to getting it in than I probably should have, but that's part of the fun, is just seeing what you can get done. That one is a Dar variety, and that one is the Chicago Pickler. And then next door to that is my big cucumber in the culture trash can from the summer that's starting to look a little ragged, but it's still producing big nice cucumbers. It's a slicer, and it's putting on some excellent. I'll sneak in here. It's putting on some nice cucumbers and still making good ones there, and I'll just let it go until it either quits producing or we get our frost, which here our average first frost is right around the 1st of November, so I've still got 45 days, so we'll see what we get. Here's my peppers. They're still producing. These were supposed to be a green bell pepper, but all of them, they never really formed to make a decent bell pepper. And I talked to somebody who bought bell peppers, I can't remember the variety, from the same greenhouse, and they had the same issue. In fact, they grow almost into an elf toe, and some of them said that even looked like a poblano pepper. So I don't know if they got a little cross-pollination going on or what, but they never really truly formed a decent bell pepper that you could do a stuffed bell pepper with. And then around the corner here, getting into our wicking tubs, these 4 that had different things in for the spring garden. These 4 right here together are the 4, each have a different variety of cucumbers. And these are all pickling cucumbers. My wife wanted to try some pickling, and we'll see if we get any by the time we get a frost. It'll be close, but we'll see. The varieties I chose was Chicago Picklers, Dar, Boston Picklers, and In-Cash Market. I believe is how you pronounce that. And they all have done real well. If I was to say anything about any one of them, it seems like the Chicago Pickler was just a little slower to germinate, and they're all planted at the same time from seed. And these here in this tub are the Chicago Picklers, and they were just a little slower to germinate and sprout, and they're slower and smaller than the rest of them. The rest of them are taking off rather well. They've been in the ground 2.5 weeks and looking quite well. Going to try for the first time some Brussels sprouts, which I need to get in there and thin that one, but they have taken off and grown and started very well. Never grown Brussels sprouts before, never really had a fall garden before, so got a lot of firsts going on here. And moving on over here, I read that you can do beans and peas in the fall and have decent return, and I had not grown them in my wicking tub, so just doing a small experiment with some beans and peas. I got a little discoloration on some of the bean leaves, but those were the first leaves, so I don't know if it's been so long since I've raised beans. I don't know if that's just part of the process of it's the first leaves that sprouted, but they are growing quite well. We'll see what I get, how much I get on the small scale in the tub. And those were contender beans from Baker Creek. And then these are Lincoln peas, a short-term variety. We'll see how they do, and we'll go from there. Over here, my wife has set up a pan of water for our pollinators. She read somewhere that you need to keep water available for your pollinators, so we've set up that, in which we are still seeing a large number of pollinators in our garden. Even though our sunflowers have gone away, we still have our buckets with the marigolds and the zinnias, and every day I come out here I'm seeing pollinators, so we're trying to promote our pollinators and keep them happy and keep them coming around and keep them healthy. So okay, here we are at our tomato towers. They're looking a little ragged, but they're still producing. Here I've seen in the years past on my tomatoes that they get a little ragged, but then as it cools off in the fall, they actually come back and produce right up until frost. I know some people have already pulled theirs out and moved on, but mine are, like I said, they are still producing pretty consistently, so I'm gonna probably continue on. These two varieties were Honey Mountain Crisp, a cherry, and Porter, a small plum. Come around the corner here, that's my celebrity. It's really starting to look ragged, but it's still producing some nice fruit, so I'll keep watering and fertilizing it till we come to the end. That Roma is still producing, looking a little ragged. Sweet Millions cherry, it's losing a lot of leaves, but it's still producing fruit. Like I said, a lot of people pulled theirs out around here. I tend to leave mine in. This Roma's just about done, and that one, the 4th of July, is still producing some small slicers, and actually really good fruits. First year I've ever raised that one. Still have 2 watermelons, which this one has a decent size, which I think is about ready to go. And this one, even though the vine looks a little ragged on part of it, it's got 3 melons on the vine. And then we got our strawberries. Actually, a couple of them still are putting on fruit. We lost one, not sure why. One looks a little ragged, need to fertilize, but they're still doing well. Those were planted this year, and some of them have completely filled their bucket, and so we're real pleased with that. And here I've got 8 tubs I did a fall gardening in. Just like I said, they're growing different things. I've never done a fall garden. There's a lot of things I've never grown, and so we're just kind of playing around with that. Starting here on the end, I've got carrots and beets, and this one was the seeds I had left over from my spring gardening, and they're sprouted. I've got 3 tubs of different varieties of radish, and this one is the Chinese red meat, or some people call it the watermelon radish. It's got the green exterior and the red inside. Never grown them before, actually never heard of them until this year. Kind of intrigued me, so I decided to grow them. I was going to grow them in the spring, and then I did some reading on it, and they recommend that they were a better fall radish variety, so we're doing them this fall. Then this one is the hailstone radish, which I did those this spring and was very pleased with them, so I'm trying them in this fall. I need to thin them. They've germinated and grown very well. They've been in the ground approximately a week and a half. and they've done very well. I know I need to thin them, probably use the tops in salads. You can see that. And that one is scarlet red globe radish. I raised those this spring and was pleased with them. That one is spinach. I can't remember the variety right off the top of my head. I didn't write it on my tag that I have in there, but it has yet to, I think what's sprouting there is just some random grass. They have yet to germinate and sprout, so I don't know if I did something wrong or what. I'll keep an eye on that. This one are the purple top turnips. They're looking rather well. I need to thin them out. Probably make me a little small green salad one of these days and thin out all of these and use the tops for that. This, I've got two different varieties of leaf lettuce, and they're growing, getting a good start. And that one's an experiment. I've never grown kale before, so I'm going to try my hand at kale. This is the Siberian dwarf kale, which like I said, I've never raised kale, but from what I understand, and especially this variety, that you don't eat any until after it's had a frost. So I guess I will find out and let you know. But anyway, this is what has been going on in my garden, and so this is my plot that I showed in my earlier garden video, 16 by 30. I'm working on my new site, getting closer to start moving things over there. I'd hoped to move and have my fall garden there, but didn't quite make it, but getting closer. So I'll keep you advised on, I've got a lot of different plans of what I'm going to do over there. It's a bigger space, a better space I feel, and that's what we got going on.